Lahat ng drama, lahat ng tawanan, lahat ng iyong all-time hits. Ang tanging huntahan ng Masangamaw. #1 sa Mega Manila, nationwide pa. Broadcasting from TGON, TVH Group of Networks. Dito lang sa inyong iisang himpilan. You are listening to Cool FM. Live from Cool Studios. This is koolNews at 6.
Good evening and welcome to koolNews at 6. I am Pyro. If given a chance, Senator John Villanueva would ask President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to consider as a priority measure the bill that seeks to repeal the low taxing Philippine offshore gaming operators POGOs. Villanueva made the pronouncement at the Kapihan sa Senado forum on Wednesday. The lawmaker said he is willing to push for the prioritization of his measure, Senate Bill number 2752, which calls for the permanent cancellation of POGO licenses issued by the Philippine Amusement and Gaming Corporation. If I weren't given a chance to talk to the president, I will appeal that this be made a priority. I am sure the president is so happy about the people's reaction. I remember shaking hands with him after his SONA, and I told him that I felt it and that I knew that he was very happy that he delivered the right message, not only anticipated but also needed by Filipinos, Villanueva to reporters. Senate Bill number 2752 was filed days after Marcos announced the POGO ban during his third SONA. Villanueva also said he wants to discuss his plan with Senate President Francis Chis Escudero. I have yet to talk to our Senate President, but probably today I'll talk to him about it. If we can fast-track this important measure, he said, even if POGOs are reactivated, for example, by the end of the year, this measure will not exist because it has still yet to be passed. I'll also continue to push for this measure. And as I earlier mentioned, it's because of the fact that we don't want the next administration or the future administration to invite the POGOs back, he added. Under Villanueva's measure, POGOs will have 30 days from the effectivity of the proposed law to cease their operation. Failure or refusal of the firms to close operations shall subject the responsible officers to imprisonment of 12 to 20 years or a fine of 100 million pesos or both, and will subject the foreign offenders to deportation after service of sentence, his bill reads. The bill also states that the Bureau of Internal Revenue will still have the priority to collect unpaid tax from POGOs even after the repeal of the Republic Act 11590 or the Act taxing POGO, which was signed into law in 2021. The International Criminal Court ICC can do whatever it wants, Senator Ronald Bato de la Rosa said on Wednesday. Finally breaking his silence, the senator responded to Solicitor General Bernardo Guerrafa's statement that the Philippine government could not stop the ICC's prosecutor from interviewing suspects in the alleged crimes against humanity committed during the time of former President Rodrigo Duterte. De la Rosa and 4 other retired and incumbent police officers were tagged as suspects by the Office of the Prosecutor of the ICC. We have no control over that. If they want to do something, they might as well just do it, De La Rosa said in an interview at the Senate. But no one from the ICC has reached out to him yet, the senator said. None, De La Rosa said. He was also unfazed by the reported request of the ICC prosecutor to put him under the International Police Interpol Blue Notice. Interpol Notice, according to this website, are international requests for cooperation or alerts allowing police in member countries to share critical crime-related information. A Blue Notice seeks to collect additional information about a person's identity, location, or activities in relation to a criminal investigation. I don't know if that's possible. That's up to them, De La Rosa said of the said Blue Notice request. When asked if he was still hoping that the Philippine government would protect him from the ICC probe, the senator said, like what they said before, investigating is one thing, or issuance of a warrant is one thing, and implementation of a warrant is another thing. One thing is certain, De La Rosa is not bothered by the latest actions of the ICC. Why should I be bothered? Let them be. I am not bothered. Let them be. Go ahead, he said. As then police chief during Duterte's administration, De La Rosa was the chief implementer of Duterte's ruthless war on illegal drugs. China on Wednesday warned the Philippines it risked greater insecurity for itself after the United States said it would provide $500 billion in addition to military funding to Manila in the face of Beijing's growing assertiveness. In Manila on Tuesday, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken unveiled what he called a once-in-a-generation investment to help modernize the Philippine Armed Forces and Coast Guard. Asked about the announcement, Beijing's Foreign Ministry on Wednesday warned Manila that wooing countries from outside the region to provoke confrontation in the South China Sea will only undermine regional stability and aggravate tensions. Trying to introduce external forces to protect its own security will only lead to greater insecurity for itself, and it might even become someone else's pawn, spokesman Lin Chen said. The latest high-level U.S. visit follows a series of escalating confrontations between Philippine and Chinese vessels into the disputed waterway that have raised concern that Washington could be dragged into a conflict due to its mutual defense treaty with Manila. The Philippines' proximity to the hotly contested South China Sea, as well as sub-route Taiwan, will make it a key partner for the United States if a conflict were to break out in the region. Beijing claims almost the entire waterway, despite an international ruling that its assertion has no legal basis, and considers democratic Taiwan to be part of its territory. Almost 99% of schools nationwide have already opened their classes for the school year 2024 to 2025, Education Secretary Sonny Angara said on Wednesday. Based on data as of July 31st at 7 a.m., only 673 schools have not yet opened their doors for learners to give way to ongoing cleanup and repair activities in areas affected by the Southwest Monsoon and Typhoon Karina. These schools are in the National Capital Region and Regions 1, 3, and 4A. In an unabashed interview on the sidelines of the Brigada Pagpasa Partners Network launch in Mandaluyong City, Angara said that 670 schools represent less than 1% of those expected to open for school year 2024 to 2025. So that 600 is less than 1% of all schools nationwide, he said. Meanwhile, as of 9 a.m., that said that 22,440,747 students have enrolled for school year 2024 to 2025. This is approximately 80% of the 27,722,835 students expected to enlist for the current school year. DepEd said the number is still expected to go up until the end of the enrollment period on September 16. A 29-year-old man from Las Piñas City has been missing since Friday morning, according to his family. Mark Joseph Capuno Rampa was last seen in the city. He was wearing a maroon button-up shirt, dark gray trousers, and brown leather shoes. He was also carrying a black backpack. His family's Facebook post read. Nak Rampa is 5'7" tall and weighs 75 kilograms, his family said. To whoever has contact in Baguio, we have just confirmed that he took a bus into Baguio from PTX last Friday 9 a.m. July 26. His mother Arian Nakrampa Facebook post read. His family said anyone who has information about Nakrampa's whereabouts may contact the following: 0968-741-6350 for Smart, WhatsApp, and Fiber, and 0954-372-7875 for Globe. And Trade Secretary Alfredo Pascal resigned from his post, the palace said on Wednesday. According to the Presidential Communications Office, Pascal resigned from his post to return to the private sector. His resignation will be effective on August 2. TPCO also said President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. accepted Pascal's resignation after a meeting in Manalcanar. His focus on MSMEs, or known as micro, small, and medium enterprises, was absolutely correct, and we are beginning to see the fruits of that policy. We are sorry to lose him, but we respect his decision that this is the time for him to return to the private sector, said Marcos, as quoted by PCO. No successor has been named yet, but the PCO said the search for Pascal's replacement will commence immediately to ensure a seamless transition and continuity into the Department of Trade and Industry's intuitives. Pascal confirmed that he resigned as DTI chief. After much reflection, I have decided that it is time for me to return to the private sector. There, my roles will allow me to continue contributing my expertise and experience while being able to spend quality time with my family, his statement read. He also thanked Marcos for the opportunity and said his time serving in the cabinet was an extraordinary privilege and honor. According to Pascal, his role as DTI chief has been one of the most challenging yet fulfilling experiences of his career. It is now 6:10 in the evening and koolNews at 6 will be right back. Welcome back to koolNews at 6. The Commission on Elections Complex and National Mapping and Resource Information Authority, NAGRIA, underscored the importance of using technology to ensure seamless and fair elections in a memorandum signing of a memorandum of agreement on Wednesday. COMELEC and NAMRIA teamed up to implement the Geographic Information System, a computer-based application that analyzes and displays map information. By leveraging NAMRIA's expertise in mapping and geospatial intelligence, we aim to support COMELEC in addressing challenges with geospatial data and updating election precinct maps, said NAMRIA Undersecretary Peter Tayanko. Furthermore, NAMRIA Mapping and Geodesy Branch Director Rob Belen mentioned that the agency will provide base maps and training for COMELEC technical personnel. Of course, we always say in order to enhance democracy, we must use technology, and in order to enhance democracy and technology, we must always use the power of partnership, said COMELEC Chairman George Garcia. Garcia noted that NAMRIA will be helpful in electoral measures such as locating barangays and poll precincts. We want to see the actual barangays up to the precinct. What happens there? The maps from NAMRIA will be a big help in distributing electoral materials and sending electoral board members, military, and PNP personnel, said Garcia in an Embash interview on Wednesday. We have a precinct mapping that identifies the location of the precinct. Is this certain precinct near voters? We may be putting precincts too far from voters. NAMRIA will help ensure that we will not have disenfranchised voters just because COMELEC polling precincts are too far, Garcia added. According to Garcia, GIS will operate as early as January when 82 repair hubs will be established in all the provinces in the country. Repair hubs will assist in repairing broken voting machines. Last April, COMELEC reported that the initial batch of around 20,000 voting counting machines that will be used in the 2025 and national elections is expected to arrive by August. A singular appeal to the palace was aired by Senator Joel Villanueva on Wednesday. Keep an eye on flooding as much as you keep an eye on Philippine offshore gaming operators. You have to be serious about it. I am calling on Malacanan also. As serious as we are about Pogo, let's be serious about this too, he pleaded to the president. Otherwise, let's get rid of this fund because it's a waste of money. It's an awful waste of time, awful waste of money, said Villanueva in a Kapihan sa Senado floor. The senator's outburst came after he lamented the perennial flooding in the Philippines, especially after the recent onslaught of Super Typhoon Karina enhanced by the southwest monsoon. This happens every year. I already mentioned this last year. You were also there in the Senate hearing last year. No one believes in the Senate anymore, Villanueva recalled. No one believes the government that it will do anything to address the problem because every single year it's getting worse, he lamented. Despite his remarks, the senator then pointed out that the combined budgets of the Department of Public Works and Highways, Metropolitan Manila Development Authority, the Department of Environment and Natural Resources, as well as the Commission on Climate Change, amount to a whopping 1.44 billion pesos a day. This budget alone can fund 700 classrooms a day, according to Villanueva. Can you imagine 700 classrooms? Can you imagine that we're constructing 700 classrooms a day instead of putting it into a waste project? Well, tell me that it's not a waste. Go ahead. Prove to it that it's not a waste project, he said. The project that the senator is pertaining to is the government's flood control programs. In his third State of the Nation address last week, President Bongbong Marcos said 5,500 of these initiatives have so far been completed, but Villanueva admitted to thinking that the country's chief executive may be misled. Meanwhile, the Senate panel on Public Works, joining with the Environment, Natural Resources, and Climate Change Committee, will conduct an inquiry into the country's flood control master plan and planning flood control projects on Thursday. What's gonna happen? What do you think is gonna happen? Let's enumerate this one by one. I have learned how to raise and lower my voice. What else can we do? Should we do this every day? Let's see, said Villanueva. Despite his frustration, he made clear that there is still a need to conduct an investigation on this matter so that the country's flooding problem may be minimized once and for all. Manila Electrico, or Morocco, the power distributor giant of the MVP Group, faces a roadblock after a regional trial court issued a temporary restraining order against its plan bidding for an additional power supply of 1,000 megawatts. In the five-page order promulgated on July 21st, 2024, Executive Judge Peyron G. Sanpero of the City Regional Trial Court, Branch 50 FC, granted the petition of the members of the consortium operating the Malampaya gas field, Prime Energy, Prime Oil and Gas Incorporated, UC38 LLC, and the Philippine National Oil Exploration Corp. for the immediate issuance of the 72-hour temporary restraining order against Morocco's conduct of competitive selection process for its 600 megawatts and 400 megawatts power supply requirements after finding merits to the verified complaint by the plaintiffs. Upon evaluation of the allegations contained in the verified complaint for injunction, it appears from the facts shown that great or irreparable injury would result to the plaintiffs and applicants before the writ of preliminary injunction could be heard. In other words, there exists extreme urgent necessity for the writ as to warrant the issuance of temporary restraining order to prevent further damages to the plaintiff's interests, the government, and the environment, the Turkic court ruled. The court has set an RTO bond of 5 million pesos. Upon posting an RTO bond, which is hereby fixed in the amount of 5 million pesos, let a temporary restraining order effective for 72 hours be issued in favor of the plaintiff's applicants enjoining the respondent Manila Electric Company from conducting its competitive bidding selection process under its current terms of reference, including the receipt of bids, the award, and implementation of any award arising from it, the RTC said. The Malampaya Consortium earlier filed a complaint against Morocco. It stressed that pursuing the bidding can put indigenous natural gas at a disadvantage, violating the preference given by existing laws. Increased reliance on imported sources of fuel threatens the country's energy security and energy sovereignty because these are greatly susceptible to a volatile market, the previous petition said. The bidding process was scheduled for August 2 at 9 a.m. It added that the bidding could put the country in a situation where a significant portion of our power supply is placed in the hands of imported coal and imported LNG. The prices of both are notoriously unstable and extremely subject to external shocks in the market. Sought for comments, Morocco said it has yet to receive an official copy from the Turkey court, but an official insisted that Morocco follows existing rules of the Department of Energy and the Energy Regulatory Commission in conducting biddings. It is our mandate to ensure that we conduct these in a timely manner, as delay will expose our consumers to unnecessary burden in the amount of billions of pesos in the form of higher power rates, said Jose Ronald V. Valdez, Morocco SVP and Head of Regulatory Management. Finally, in some unfortunate showbiz entertainment news, Taylor Swift expressed grief for the victims of a knife attack in Southport, England, which happened at a dance class themed around the singer's music. The rampage, in which a 17-year-old boy was arrested on suspicion of murder and attempted murder, resulted in the death of 3 children aged 9, 7, and 6. The horror of yesterday's attack in Southport is washing over me continuously, and I'm just completely in shock, Swift wrote on her Instagram stories on Tuesday, July 30. The loss of life and innocence and the horrendous trauma inflicted on everyone who was there, the families and first responders. These were just little kids at a dance class, she stated. I am at a complete loss for how to ever convey my sympathies to these families. King Charles III also extended condolence to the family of the victims through the royal family's Instagram stories. According to an online listing, the Taylor Swift themed workshop was held for children aged about 6 to 11. It was led by 2 women, a yoga instructor and a dance instructor. While further details on the suspected attacker have yet to be disclosed. Police said they are not treating the attack as terror-related. The attacks also left 10 other individuals injured, with 7 of them in critical condition. And now for some good news tayo guys. Hollywood breakout star Dylan heads the distinguished lineup of panel members who will take on the challenging task of selecting the films that will bring home the coveted Balanghay trophies at the 2024 Cinema Laya Philippine Independent Film Festival. Dylan, along critic, creative writer, and academic Nika Nar Son, Relented film recruiter Nicola Marceno, multi-awarded director, editor, composer, and writer Gerald Darok, and founder and festival director of the Dakha International Film Festival, Atma Zutupa Samo, will serve as the jurors for Cinema Laya's main competition in its 20th year. And that is it for Cool News at 6. As always, you can get in touch with us at tvh.philippines.news@gmail.com. And we will be back with more headlines with Cool News Prime Time later at 9 p.m. tonight. Until then, I am Cairo. Good evening.